So it's a serious discussion. The topic has been changed. We were supposed to speak on money and Mahabharat, but we are only speaking on Mahabharat, which is Shastra and Shaastra. There is a common saying in Hindi, and we have heard it from our childhood. And this brings out the foundational principle of life, which is spoken by ordinary villagers also, because they have common sense. What is it? It is called a jiski lati uski bhais. Right? Everyone has heard it. I'll say once again and I'll translate for those who don't understand Hindi. Jiski lati uski bhais. That means the person who has a stick, only he can own a buffalo. There's a very interesting story into this. There was a boy, a cowherd, and he was going with his buffalo, to graze them in the field. And suddenly from nowhere he saw a robber, with a big lakdi came there attacking him, saying that, hey, if you don't give me your bhais, tumhara main sir phod dunga, I'll break your bones, I'll break your head. Naturally, the cowherd boy became extremely afraid, scared, and instantly said, "No, no, no, take, it is aapki hai, aap hi le lena hai. You take it. What else can you do? Because he has the stick and this person has a buffalo." And the robber was very happy to know that he is getting the buffalo without any protest, without any counter attack. He very humbly said, "Well, chacha, kaka, lakdi to de dena. Mujhe lakdi de do na. Give me the stick na. At least I will take the stick." And the robber became very magnanimous, and he gave him the stick. जैसे उस लड़के के हाथ में लकड़ी आ गई,
It's
he became
7:04 p.m.
Arjun
To hear your
and gave a
notifications,
bang on the
follow the
head of the man
notification
who
on your
was
phone to
robbing.
turn on notification
And the robber
access.
fell down. And the man who has the stick now, the coward boy, उसके पास लकड़ी भी आ गई और उसके पास भैंस भी आ गई. And from then onwards, this has become a very famous statement. जिसकी लाठी उसकी भैंस. If we do not understand this through this example, we will never understand, because we will not exist to understand. We will not be there only. Right? Not only in this body, but in our understanding. So therefore, there is a common sense. Then let us
It's
go to the
7:05 p.m.
Shastra. Right? Now, who are the Pandavas? Pandavas were ruling Hastinapur. They were from the Kurukul. And what was their duty? Their duty was to basically being a Kshatriya. Not only Kshatriya, they were from the royal family. Not only from the royal family, they were representing the tradition of Bharat. The word Bharat comes from the great King Bharat. Who was he? He was the son of Shakuntala. Right? When we study any word, there is a responsibility behind that word. It carries lot of itihas and especially names. Right? So, Bharat was the son of Shakuntala and Dushasan. And Bharat had another name called as Sarva Damana. Sarva Damana. He was the original cowherd boy, carrying a stick, and beating those people who were against the principle of coexistence. Aggression, invaders, and troublemakers, whether it is animal or people who were basically animalistic in their behavior. Sarva Damana. Right. So the Pandavas represented Bharat And the Bharat Bhumi carries that same principle coming from him. It's a tradition, it is a legacy, it is the spirit, is the flow. When you go to Mother Ganga, when you go to Mother Jamuna, when you go to Mother Kaveri, when you go to Mother Narmada, when you go to Padma, when you go to Brahmaputra, right, whichever river you go, you hear the sound. You go to the Himalayan mountains, the breeze which flows from there. It is simply speaking the limitless legacy which was carried forward by these great personalities. We should have the open ears to hear and common sense. When Kunti told her husband, I have got this special benediction, I can invoke different devatas. What did her husband Pandu say? Oh, great! He said, invoke Dharma, because Dharma is the everything in this world. Dharma is the foundation for Shraddha. Dharma is the foundation for prosperity. Dharma is the foundation for gratifying our senses. And Dharma also is the foundation for Mukti, Moksha. Hey Kunti, and we can expect such word coming from Pandu because he had a tradition, he had a legacy. And Kunti immediately agreed and she invoked Yama, who is the personification of Dharma. And Yudhishthira was born, so that became the foundation. After 1 year, Kunti asked Pandu Maharaj, now whom should I invoke? Pandu Maharaj made an interesting principle, interesting comment to Kunti. And this becomes the foundational principle of the Vedanta, foundational principle of Gita, foundational principle of Mahabharat, even the Bhagavatam for that matter, a grantha of love, still has the foundation in Dharma only. And if these literatures do not make sense to us and something else makes sense to us, that means we are senseless. What did Pandu say? Pandu said, my dear Kunti, Dharma can only be protected by Lakdi. Dharma can only be protected by power and position. Therefore, I request next two sons should be coming from one from Vayu and Indra. Vayu represents power and the Indra represents position. राज्य किसके हाथ में है, अधिकार किस में हाथ में, और शक्ति किधर है. When Bhima is representing the power, limitless power, where it has the power to unleash limitless violence if there is a need. And Arjuna represents directing that power in a judicious way. Just imagine, whether it is common sense or Mahabharat, there is absolutely no contradiction in regards to what is our Shastra. It is not Mohanchand Karamchand Gandhi defines what is reality. It is not the seculars who have no connection to the scripture, common sense and foundational principle will define what is dharma and what is adharma. Right? It is not the words of Jesus Christ will define that if somebody slaps you, you give 70 times. That is not how Christianity has grown. Right? So therefore, we are going back to the foundational principle to understand what is the foundational principle for this trouble. And then what happened? Arjuna and Bhima appeared. When Yudhishthira Maharaj is supported by Bhima and Arjuna, it becomes very powerful. And to make that power founded in peace, not peace, Shanti, Nakula and Sahadev came. So if you see the sons of the Pandu, there is an integration of Shanti, there is integration of dharma, Shakti is integrated in that, and position is integrated in that. Another very interesting principle. Again, I am only speaking from the scripture, right? This is the time when Draupadi is being disrobed, right? Draupadi is being disrobed is a unfortunately eternal reality in the world where we live in. Unfortunate reality. Whether it is Bangladesh, whether it is Pakistan, whether it is Afghanistan, whether it is Kashmir or anywhere for that matter, some abuse takes place because there are people purely based upon their lust, and there are some people they add religion to their lust, and that becomes extremely obnoxious, wherein their faith makes them so desensitized, so obnoxious, and they take pleasure in raping 10-year-old girl also, then one has to question what kind of religion is that? What kind of faith is that? Right? So that very Draupadi was being disrobed, were planning to disrobe. Of course, she was protected by her own endeavor and plus her Shraddha in Krishna. Then she comes to Bhishma Dev. She asked this question, my dear grandsire Bhishma, have this very important and pertinent question, burning question. She asked, where is Dharma now? And Bhishma, there had tears in his eyes. He was crying tears. Just like the Hindus are crying tears because the lakdi is not there in their hand. Bhishma Dev, he spoke to Draupadi. This is not my word. Read the Mahabharat. Any version of the Mahabharat. Bhishma said, my dear Draupadi, unfortunately, wherever there is power and position, they define what is right, what is wrong, unfortunately. And today the power is with the Dushta Chatushtaya. There are 4 people, they are Dushtas. Dushasan. Now what does Dushasan represent? Dushasan represents the aggressive faith where I will abuse anybody. I will not name that. And this was said by one great Vaishnava saint, Pejawar Swami. Right? That is Dushasan. Where a man takes pleasure in abusing woman until his last breath he is justifying it. What do you think Bhima had to do it? According to Gandhi and Jesus' philosophy, send more women. You slap me, I allow you to slap me more so that his heart will change. Right? Just see how much in the name of pure humility one becomes pure hijda of the highest order. And therefore Krishna condemned Arjuna. He did not glorify, wow Arjuna, what a humility you are exhibiting. He said, Klaibyam masmagamam partam. Where is this impurities have come upon you, my dear Arjun? Right? When Bhishma told that to Draupadi, he had tears in his eyes. And Draupadi heard it. And our Krishna, right? You become fascinated by Krishna not simply because he is playing upon his flute. You become fascinated by Krishna because along with the flute, he has limitless common sense. He knows how to act according to situation. And he has taught this principle to us forever, eternally. When he saw this idea given by Bhishma Dev, and who is Bhishma Dev? Mahajan. But Bhishma Dev's answer is coming from the position of helplessness. Even though he had the resources to stop this, Dushasan, Duryodhan, Shakuni and Karna, very clearly mentioned. Krishna told the Pandavas, my dear Pandavas, prepare yourself. The 12-year exile and 1 year incognito is not meant for increasing your spiritual elevation alone. You go deeper into your own life, but you go broader into the life of a Kshatriya. And what did Krishna teach them? Krishna taught them the integration of being good and being tough. Right? Being good and being tough, he taught. And anybody speaks now of saying that one should not be upset, one should not be angry, you should also be angry with those people who say this. You should increase your anger, keeping dharma in the center, right? Otherwise, what will happen? You will lose the battle of your own life. And you lose being a warrior for the cause of dharma. Here we are not talking about, going around killing people, beating people. That is not Sanatan Dharma. But understanding very clearly, if you have the knowledge properly, and based upon that knowledge, the execution happens. Right? So what did Krishna tell the Pandavas? Preparation. The forest for the Pandavas was not a resort. Forest for the Pandavas was not a spiritual retreat alone. Yes, it was very spiritual, but it was not spiritual retreat alone. It was a preparation for establishing dharma based upon the original legacy given by Bharat, on whose name this Bharata Desha has come into existence. Right? So Krishna made the Pandavas tough and strong. And what is this dharma, which has the power to resist all kind of nonsense? How is it different from faith? Now it makes very important for us to understand. The Sanatan dharmic person will never have a battle based upon Shraddha. Unlike the Islam and Christian religion, the entire foundational principle of Christianity and Islam is based upon faith. And what is that faith? The faith has to be external, visible, organized, systematized. And anybody goes against that, it is the mandate to eliminate them, silence them, or take away their buffalo. Right? Now, you don't have to basically challenge this, because you have to read. And what is dharma? Dharma is somebody says, I don't believe in Krishna. We have no problem with him. If somebody says, I don't believe in Ram, we have no problem with them. I don't believe in Lord Shiva, no problem with them. Because that is their fate to believe or not. That does not define my interaction with them in the real world, in the world of transaction. What is the defining factor which allows me to interact with somebody? It is dharma. And dharma is extremely secular originally, not the sucking secular of the West. Right? What is this? What is this dharma? Dharma is a universal principle where we believe in, fairness, justice, equality, fraternity. Krishna did not come to this world to establish Shraddha. If he had come to establish Shraddha, then other than the 5 Pandavas, he had to kill most of them. because they did not had devotion to Krishna, but that didn't matter to him. He said he was focusing on dharma. And this is one of the greatest difference between Sanatan Dharma and the other Abrahamic faith. So therefore, the battle of Kurukshetra is not for faith, and the battle of Bangladesh is purely for establishing radical, tamoguna, separatist, violent, abusive, Dushasan like ideology. And such Dushasan like ideology, what it will do? It will only see that everybody else is against me and my faith, and therefore they deserve to be killed. Right? And you hear this, there is no concept, there is no question of contradiction in this regard. You ask them, and you ask somebody who understands the Sanatan Dharma philosophy. So therefore, if you understand it very clearly, where does this come from? Then you realize it is coming from Tamogun Shraddha. The Bhagavatam 3rd canto. Please read. Kapil Muni and Mother Dehuti are discussing. She asked this question about Shraddha, Bhakti. And Kapil Muni is explaining, my Mother Dehuti, those who have devotion or Shraddha, which is flavored with Tamoguna, gives rise to separatism, gives rise to violence, gives rise to aggression. So when we are discussing, at least let us make very clear in our understanding. If our understanding is not very clear and we are insisting against that understanding, then however faith we may propose, we become Shastra Drohi. Right? We become completely Shastra Drohi just because we want to be what? We want to be, popular. We want to be nice rather than dharmic and satyavan. We are not saying, okay, do because this is this, therefore you have to do. We are not aggressive in regards to reactive response. Like Sanatan Dharma does not believe in reactive responses. Pandavas prepared for 12 years after realizing there is no point in making cooperation with this Dushasan like and Duryodhan like people, their ideology. And they prepared. And they gave another last chance. They sent Krishna himself. He said, Krishna, go and ask for peace. And Draupadi, she was the one who represents. She represents the people, the legacy, the tradition of thousands of years. Invasion coming from all these areas. She is a representation of that. When Krishna came out from that meeting, Draupadi asked Krishna, how is that you are doing it? How can you do like this? And what do you think Krishna told her? He said, we always give an opportunity for transformation. And I know Draupadi, unfortunately, they will not change. Because there is no logic. There is no reason other than simply the concentrated Shraddha in Tamogun. But still it is my responsibility. And it is not that Krishna did not put his heart. When Vidur asked him, Krishna, why are you here? How can you talk to these people? And you know what Krishna said? No, Duryodhana, no, Vidur. Everybody has the opportunity to change. Therefore, knowledge has to be given. And if I try doing good, and even if I am not successful, still the effort of doing good will benefit me and everybody else. And nobody will blame me for not trying sincerely enough. And I want to prove this point. And what a bhashan Krishna gave. No? What a talk he gave to the Kauravas, headed by hundreds of people. You think it went into the heart of Duryodhan and Dushasan? They decided to capture Krishna. They wanted to capture Krishna and make him prisoner. Right? Satyaki went crazy. He said, what are they doing? Krishna stopped him. And what did Krishna do? He showed his Vishwarup. What do you mean by showing Vishwarup? Showing Vishwarup means again exposing the other party of their limitation, their obnoxiousness, and telling Pandavas very clear, everybody else clear, now whatever happens is I am not responsible. Their Adharma is responsible. And not even once Krishna raised about becoming his devotees to the Kauravas. He was only telling them, be fair, be dharmic, be reasonable, be logical, give 5 villages to the Pandavas. And what did Duryodhan say? 5 villages? What an arrogance. And if you see those who have this kind of blind, narrow, tamasic shraddha, they have such an arrogance and confidence in regards to being nasty and taking pleasure in that. Not only nasty and taking pleasure in that, and telling Krishna, I said, hey, come on, what do you speak of 5 villages? I would not offer you even a small pin or a needle which will occupy the space. Right? If you are liberal, if you have a common sense, if you have that large heartedness, where the invaders have struck, they struck Kashi Vishwanath, they struck Ayodhya, they struck Mathura. What is this 3? These 3 places are the heartbeat of every Indian, every Bharatiya. And not only they struck there, and they caused so much of damage to the innocent faith of people. If you are educated, man, if you have a common sense, is it not fair enough to say, here we are offering you, our ancestors, bloody, obnoxious people, they're Dracula's bloodsuckers, they cause so much of violence and we don't stand by them. Is it not very simple and common sense to understand this? But do you think ever that will be done? It is not the people, it is not the people, it is the faith which makes them do like that. It is the unfortunate reality. A faith connected to religion or faith connected to certain stubbornness like Duryodhan and Dushasan. And not only that, they came to capture Krishna, right? They came to capture Krishna. And that time Krishna made it very clear. He had told them, हम अहिंसा के उपासक है. हमें मुरली, आई एम एडिंग दिस, हमें मुरली बजाना ही सबसे अच्छा लगता है. जब हम मुरली बजाते हैं ना, तो दुनिया स्टन हो जाती है. टुडे इज एक्चुअली शरद पूर्णिमा, राइट? Today Krishna, of course, people are celebrating tomorrow, but the tithi now after 7 o'clock, the Purnima starts. No, so Krishna played upon his flute. Where did he play upon his flute? Only in Vrindavan, because they were sensible people. He played upon his flute because they were grounded in dharma, and based upon that there was bhakti. They were qualified to hear that sound. Out of Vrindavan, Krishna never touched his flute. In Hastinapur, he played, no, he blew. What did he blow? He blew the conch. And what happened when he blew the conch? It shattered. This is the word of Vyasadev. It shattered the heart of the Kurus. because they were not willing to transform themselves. Right? So therefore Krishna said, हम अहिंसा के उपासक हैं. We worship ahimsa. Ahimsa is worshipable for us. But my dear Duryodhan, we also know how to discipline people. हम शास्त्र की उपासना करते हैं. हम शास्त्र के द्वारा अहिंसा की उपासना करते हैं. अहिंसा परमो धर्म है, परंतु कब? When the other party is willing to accept it. If you do not, then we know how to discipline you. And Krishna walked away. And what happened? The Kauravas, having a greater army, Pandavas who were willing to be assertive along with good, they had stopped following the philosophy of Jesus. They had stopped following the philosophy of Gandhi, that you slap, I will give my lips. You slap, I will bow down my head. They tried to do that. It didn't work out. Till their last day, forget last day, even the middle of the battle, right? Even in the middle of the battle, they were willing to compromise. And who's saying this? Ashwatthama is saying this to Duryodhan. He said, I know them very well. Duryodhan, please, I can immediately and go Yudhishthira and he will agree for it. And if you have a trouble with Bhima, he will also accept because he follows Krishna. He may have a trouble, but he will accept this war can stop. Bhishma told Karna, तो ऐसे लोगों के साथ क्या कर सकते हो? Right? Keep beating the philosophy of Gandhiji. Unfortunately, today we have to say the Gita of Gandhiji is like Sita being kidnapped by Ravan. No, it is not the Gita. Right? So therefore, we are talking from Krishna's perspective. We are speaking from Ram's perspective. We are speaking from Lord Chaitanya's perspective. And we are speaking from Prabhupada's perspective also. Right? So therefore, when we understand this principle very clear, there has to be judicious awareness amongst the, what can we do? Somebody will say, अभी हम क्या कर सकते हैं? अरे पहले अपने अंडरस्टैंडिंग को तो ठीक कर लो, अपने सोच को तो ठीक कर लो, शास्त्र से उसको जुड़ाओ. Right? And what is it? Political alertness, very important. Social sensitivity, extremely important. And spiritual absorption. ये जो तीनों का जो संगम है, ये ट्रायंगल है, that will not only create a legacy. Sanatan Dharma can never be destroyed because it is not I made it. It is not, some teacher made it. It is not Krishna made it. You may say, अरे वो तो भगवान है. Yes, when he came to this world as an avatar, it was already existing because dharma is as old as the nature, prakriti, and prakriti is as old as the Lord himself. Just like the jiva is as old as prakriti, as old as the Lord, as old as interaction in regards to dharma. And therefore, when the avatars come here, they come to re-establish dharma and avatara are synonymous to each other. They're eternal. And therefore, there is no need to feel proud, I belong to Sanatan Dharma. No, it is the eternal reality of living entities. And therefore, it can never be destroyed. But if I don't take seriously on understanding, my dharma will be destroyed. I will be destroyed. My family will be destroyed. My legacy will be destroyed. Right? As we were discussing about this, I was recently talking to some young kids, from the posh area of Mumbai. Right? How the drug menace has become so strong. And still, this obnoxious, desensitized people are supporting, oh bechara 23 साल का है, right? 15-16-year-old girls and boys, right? 6 months back when they were in 10th standard, they were not, and suddenly within 6 months, and it is rampant. It is rampant. And this manners, the politician will never stop, unfortunately. They are debating, it is a hoax, it is started by the government to that is not an important issue. The important issue is our young children who are supposed to carry forward the legacy, and most of these children come from very good business family. It is an organized crime to destroy the business acumen of Indian people. And once your child is a drug addict, and therefore it is an important issue, whenever you hear about these things, you will get to know, please communicate, let them stay for some time in jail other than destroying their entire family forever. And where this terrorism is coming from? The same place, Afghanistan. Rather than connecting the 21,000 crore worth drug with the case which is happening, some dumb ass, like many of them, saying, oh, these are two different issues, why they are not talking about this? They are interconnected. That 21,000 crore worth drug will be distributed to people like what is happening, those who are caught. Just see, therefore, political alertness, you are forced. Many devotees of ISKCON, they were playing, oh, this is none of our business, we are not into this. You are living in a world, you do not have a separate island. No? You want to go to the spiritual world, but you are in this world. You are forced to take a stand in regards to what is dharma and what is shraddha. Right? And therefore, what does the Shastra do? The scripture allows us to have a right understanding. And based upon that Shastric understanding, we did weapon puja, right? Shastra puja. And why that Shastra puja? The Shastra puja, when it is there, it reminds us that I have the resources. Mere paas kaati hai. And I will conclude with this to take questions. There is a nice Gurukul, Sabyasachi Gurukul, in the ghats of Kolhapur. And the person who started, he teaches weapon, he teaches lati kathi, he teaches different kinds of Indian martial art. And I was talking to him, why do you do this? What is the point in doing it? And one political minister, he asked him, अरे क्या है ये सब बच्चों को बिगाड़ते क्यों आप? Why are you making them aggressive? And he gave a common sense logic. He gave a Shastric logic. Very simple. If you really want to establish non-violence, you have to learn the art of defending yourself. And he gave common sense logic. He said, who attacks you? कौन आपको मारने के लिए आता है? Who abuses you? Who threatens you and who blackmails you? Those who have power and they are nasty, they realize that you are innocent, you are abala, you are helpless, and they are nasty. They are Dushasan, they are Duryodhan. As much as they do, that much they become more interested in abusing, because they are pervert, they are nasty, they are narcissist. वो निकलेगा नहीं. And they take great pleasure in doing that. Statistics, see all over. Numbers we have to discuss. He said, is it clear? Yes. And when you go down begging to them, please protect me, you think every girl who gets raped and abused, you think she does not follow Gandhi's philosophy, closing her hand? Does she not follow the philosophy of Jesus, folding her hand? You think they change? Do they ever change? They become more aggressive and break the hand which is folding and abuse them. But if there is a girl who has been taught, she is sweet in her feminine energy, but she is tough in her masculine energy, they will think twice to attack her. It is about a person. Same thing with the family. The good people have to increase their spirit of valor. One of the great police officer who passed away recently, Arvind Inamdar, no, very amazing personality. He had such a hatred for the politicians. He knew all their obnoxious behavior, and he was writing book. He was exposing many of them because he worked with them seriously. And he explained, he said, हमारे भारतीयों में बहुत जबरदस्त वैलर है, देश के लिए, धर्म के लिए, राष्ट्र के लिए खड़े हो सकते हैं, right? But he said sometimes they get stuck by smaller values. He said we should have a larger values. And he said, you know what, Govindji? Why do you think bad things happen to good people? अच्छों के साथ में बुरा क्यों होता है? क्योंकि अच्छे लोग रिटेलिएट नहीं करते हैं. And they use this wrong philosophy. It was my karma only. It is not your karma. It is your hijidagiri which is causing that. Right? He said if you become strong, he said don't attack people. Don't become violent, but become valorous. Veer bano, himsak mat bano. So this man continued saying, if you train people in Shastra and you train people in Shastra together, Shastra और शास्त्र को एक साथ में देना है. केवल शास्त्र को देने से impractical, केवल शस्त्र को देने से हिंसक बन जाओगे. When you give these two together, very interesting and very important principle. He said, you basically emanate such a power around you. When you emanate such a power around you and you are not going to attack anybody, but you have the power to retaliate, to attack, then the enemy, the aggressor, the violent, tamogun faith wala, he will realize, idhar nahi jana chahiye. And this is even psychologically proven fact, being alert and being panicky. What is being panicky? अरे भी कुछ भी हो सकता है, कुछ भी हो सकता है. You are simply reconfirming your affirmation, आपके साथ कुछ होगा ही. But if you are alert, your alertness sends such a powerful energy to the robbers, to the thief, to the religionist. They say नहीं इधर नहीं जाना चाहिए, because they have learned. And this is the foundational principle of Bhagavad Gita. What is it? You become smart, you become powerful, you become good, you follow Dharma, be resourceful. We need Yudhishthir, we need Nakul, we need Sahadev, we need Bhima, we need Arjun. Nobody will come to fight you. And if they do come fight you, their situation will be as predicted by Arjun. Yatra Yogeshwaro Krishna. What is Krishna here for us? Krishna is the entire Shastra. Not simply one Shastra, entire Shastra. Entire Shastra is Krishna. And who is Arjun? Arjun who has heard the Bhagavad Gita. He is ready to pick up his weapons and attack only reluctantly because he wants to establish Dharma. He will never take pleasure in being a pervert. He will never take pleasure in being narcissist. He will never take happiness in celebrating his victory because it has to be done reluctantly. And therefore when the war was over, the Pandavas perform Ashwamedha Yagya to wash off all knowingly, unknowingly, whatever sin they had performed. They did not become obnoxious. They did not celebrate, right? Whether it is Ram, whether it is Krishna, whether it is Krishna's follower, whether it is Ram's follower, right? Therefore, when your army, your police force, your own self in the house, you have the courage, you have the power, you have the more important, you have the understanding, right understanding, nobody dares to attack. And then only ahimsa will be established. A folding hand in the presence of an abuser can never bring any transformation other than breaking your folding hands. Therefore, जिसके हाथ में लाठी उसके हाथ के पास ही भैंस रहेगा. If you do not understand, don't ask question. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. That was quite an assertive narration. Very unfortunate to know that people who consider themselves following a particular faith can become so abusive and aggressive in their ignorance of the true understanding, and how we need to integrate our sweetness with our toughness. We need to become more resourceful and more powerful to avoid violence. We have some questions lined up. Harshi, can you please unmute yourself and ask?
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. I am actually getting a little worried when you said don't ask questions. But still, let me ask you. Uh, you said if sometimes people say that it is due to my karma, and this is a sign of Napulsanta. Now, uh, doesn't this approach that whatever suffering is coming applies to different stages of life or different varnas maybe? Like when the bull was asked in by Parikshit Maharaj, what is the cause of suffering? He gives multiple reasons. He says all of the reasons, and then he said, please apply your intelligence. So, as I understand this, when we are alone and we are just responsible for ourselves, we might be adopting this strategy that, okay, it is due to my karma. But when we are setting a responsible position and where our demise can affect the complete society, we can adopt a different philosophy of the Lati and the best. Can you just integrate these two?
Very
Thank you very
good.
much.
That you already understood what your question itself. When it is personal, when Parikshit Maharaj was about to, he had already ruled for 60 years. And what did he do as a king? Read his birth chart in one of the chapter when all the Brahmanas spoke what Parikshit will do. He will be death for those offenders. That way, same Parikshit when he speaks, Shapta, Hatopi, Na Prati Kurvanti. As you said, it was connected to a curse coming from a sadhu. Somebody else had already taken the responsibility of the kingdom, and therefore that discussion is connected to purely your spiritual growth. But if you do that in regards to your leadership, when people who are mistreated, abused under somebody else, then you cannot use this philosophy. A society requires Kshatriya, and a personal spiritual growth requires a deep understanding of karma factor. ये मेरे कर्म के कारण हो रहा है. लेकिन you cannot use, oh, all those devotees are suffering in Bengal because it was their karma. Whoever says that, they should be sent there first immediately. No? Immediately they should be sent there because they have such a conviction and they should prove their conviction to go there and stand in line before anybody gets killed. Not stay in their posh place, where speak about, what is that? Shapta, Kshipta, Hatopiva, Na Prati Kurvanti. You can't say like that. So therefore, yes, Therefore, we have to again see through Shastra Chakshu. No? At least there should be anger, pain, not simply logically or illogically making it logical. Never happens like that. This is not an helpless. We should not be helpless. It is a great discovery for everybody to understand what happens to somebody whose tamogun shraddha becomes powerful. What do they do? That's a clear understanding.
And Prabhuji, if you can also elaborate, when you say spiritual absorption, what does it mean? Because the way we imagine it seems to be 24 hours or maybe. So, how do you say political alertness, social awareness, and spiritual absorption? That's
Follow Arjuna's style. Arjuna, before the war would begin, they had their sadhana, and therefore the war would start before the sunrise and conclude after the sunset. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmaradhacha.
got it.
Being very simple.
Thank you. Palviji, can you please unmute yourself and ask a question? Samirji, can you please ask your question?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, before asking a question, I would like to educate, tell the audience, recent events happened in
Can you
Bangladesh.
ask questions?
Yes. That uh, if people don't have shastras in their home, then how can you expect that they will be having a shastra to protect dharma? Especially when the whole environment is against Vedic culture. Just like if you take entertainment, then education, NCERT books, they are also against, and they are continuously defaming Vedic culture and Vedic dharma. Then politicians are also against us. So how can we educate our children so that they will be less brainwashed and they will keep shastras and shastras both in our home?
That's what nowadays we see when parents don't send their children to play in soil also. अरे गंदा हो जाएगा, गिर जाओगे, right? So if our children don't, Lord Ramachandra, Bharat, whether it is Arjun, one of the rule of being a warrior is to learn the art of climbing tree also. Is one of the 64 arts to know how to climb the tree, right? So therefore, when the simple people want to be coached in a fine places, cricket coach, cricket खेलना है, खेलो. But this simple small children not able to handle certain challenges, so naturally, don't bring NCRT, don't bring politicians. I didn't say this, but more so it is the people. Arvind Inamdar said it is the people, it is the citizens who have got such narrow-mindedness about life. Only think about, for them Samaj means 3-4 member of their family. He became a police officer, his brother became a brigadier, and his wife had very less demand in regards to, he told me, you know what, why I was non-corrupt? Because my wife did not demand anything. मतलब उसको भी, of course he had his own value, but he gave credit to her also. 2-3 times he told me, उसने मेरे से कुछ नहीं मांगा. तो इसीलिए therefore our own people have to reflect upon, yes. And again you go back to Shastra, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. The Shastras are not telling that you don't enjoy. But the goal of life or earning money should not be focusing on मुझे ना मेरा enjoyment करना है. And they are the one people who will be abused very badly. See, what's happening with the drug addiction. An ordinary person, he will be drinking a gouty liquor. Some other once in a while he'll get something. But this, rich people, I was hearing from somebody, rich cultural people, but now modern educated, when they are in marriage, in Pani Puri they are drinking liquor. इनको क्या करना चाहिए? Is it less terrorism than what is happening in Bangladesh? It's a terrorism of being shameless and enjoying. Oh, it's part of our, it is only the Hindus in the name of being modern. During the marriage, marriage is not an event. You have to be socially acceptable. For whom? Who are they? Right? When you are ruining, it is like you are performing yajna, and in that very yajna, तुम ही ताटक बन रहे हो. You are getting married and you are only becoming tatak. एक बाजू में ब्राह्मण यज्ञ में डाल रहा है, and you are putting shit into that. And that's what Tatak was doing. That was others were doing. And therefore Lord Ram came there. And what did Lord Ram do? Right, he stopped it. No? And this is so, marriages have become a place of terror. Somebody got divorced recently and the father is telling the daughter, अरे actually कम से कम अच्छा शादी तो किया ना, मजा आ गया ना, देख कितने लोग आए थे. ऐसा बाप टेरर नहीं किया. He is a soft terrorist. Like he taking pleasure that we invited so many good people, but the marriage broke, and that is how he is consoling his daughter. तो इसको क्या कहते हैं? So therefore it is important that let us not blame anybody. Let us analyze everything. And let us empower ourselves to learn everything as much as possible and remain good and be tough. And how does it happen? It happens from, learning. Krishna repeatedly tells knowledge, 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 not simply blind knowledge. Tasma sarveshu kaleshu. और इसलिए there is no panic but being alert, preparing but not reacting. No, like tomorrow, what will happen? Some so-called moderate jihadis will come and have a conversation, or let us discuss interfaith, and they will sit and discuss, and then people say now it is solved. No, it is a 1400-year problem. Just by one stage, performed interfaith conference will not work. One of very dear friend, he was talking about, there has to be psychologically analyzed, neurologically analyzed, and we have to understand whether they actually human or not, because there are 400,000 species also, right? Are they actually acting on a human platform or not? ये सब कुछ medically, intellectually, politically सब जगह से, that is they will do the higher level. But उधर narrative करने के लिए our people feel okay, no, I don't want to take any government job, or if they take government job, it is only for I'll make big money. तो citizens, if they take responsibility, अब क्या अगर दो बच्चे हैं तो एक को कम से कम उस प्रकार से बनाओ. Let us take some risk of preparing one child who can commit for the cause of the society. So therefore Krishna will not come. Somebody asked this question, why, that's a hijada question again, why Krishna is not protecting when they are getting affected. Krishna is not our servant. When the Lord came here as an incarnation, read again, that means you don't read scriptures. When the Lord came, not humans, I'm not saying you, humans, I only. When he came, he told all the devtas, तुम भी आ जाओ, तुम लोग क्या उधर स्वर्ग में अप्सराओं से मजा करोगे. Everybody had to come, take certain role. किसको घोड़ा चलाना है, किसको हाथी चलाना है. They got killed also. The Lord is not like Bahubali. He alone is fighting. Lord says everybody. There is no stadium on the battlefield. इसलिए cricket and all sports are very good. One should play. But making wow, abhi Pakistan, India, hijragiri only. It's celebrating the victory of 11 people and forgetting the battle which is happening on the Kashmir front. Right? अरे उसकी माँ मर गई फिर भी वो खेलता रहा, उसमें क्या बड़ी बात है यार? No, what is it? It is, in fact, he should not be. A play entertainment is completely stopped when somebody dies. You are not battling a war, and that is celebrated. How stupid, how dumb, how idiot or idiotic we become. अरे देखो उसकी माँ चलेगी फिर भी वो खेलता रहा. अरे मॉर्निंग पीरियड है, and there are hundreds of soldiers are lying down. We don't even know about them. Right? So therefore, the burden lies not with the politicians, because we are the one who make them. I'm not speaking out of any reactive, because some of us were saying yes, now people are learning, they're opening. I'm saying few, at least hundreds of people who are like thinking, we have nothing to do with this. They're making statements. They are making right, logical, shastric statement. Therefore, I don't believe in reactive measures. We are followers of Pandavas. 12 saal lo, 60 saal lo, 300 saal lo, civilizational battle doesn't happen 1 or 2 years. But from your perspective, मेरे दृष्टिकोण से मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ? मैं हूँ dwarf, size में भी और resources में भी, लेकिन कुछ तो कर सकता हूँ मैं. That is, the spirit has to be developed, and that spirit is there. It is not that it is dead. I don't agree with saying, oh, Hindus are this, Hindus are that. There are some like that, and there are some who have the spirit. And therefore, because of that, that spirit only, Sanatan Dharma continues to survive, continues to thrive. There are so many power centers, soft power, हम देखते हैं उसको. इसलिए हमें पैनिक ही नहीं होना है, डरना नहीं है. इमरान खान का डरना नहीं बोल रहा हूँ मैं. आई एम स्पीकिंग फ्रॉम द शास्त्र. एंड प्रिपेयर करना है अपने आप को in regards to simple thing. If some builder cheats you don't say जाने दो क्या 1 लाख गया. नहीं, try to fight him as much as possible. If you can't fight him straight, उसका नाम खराब कर दो. If you are fearful about your name, अलग कुछ तो react दिखाओ उसके बारे में. Only this simple थेंबे थेंबे तले साटी, a small drop makes into ocean. Yes, next question.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Prathamesh ji, can you please ask your question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the wonderful class. So after this incident, I'm sure everybody, and I was so disturbed and so angry. And as you said in the class, it's not one person. It's the Abraham culture or the religion, and I don't know like how to react after to the other people now, because I have so many clients, Muslims. I'm taking directly the names. I have so many colleagues, friends. Even today, I was interviewing one of the Muslim person, and in my head, the same incident was going on. I don't know if I was fair to that, interview with him or not. So I'm not sure how to just behave normally with everybody, because I'm sure after 1 month or something, everybody will forget this. But I just want to understand your guidance that how
Simple,
to live
simple,
practically.
please. So please do not be angry with the person. Again, I never said about people, I said about the faith. So this is the time for us to be assertive in regards to our understanding and share that understanding whenever you found. That is called the concept of re-aligning them with their original. Where are they from? They are from here only. So here we are not isolating them, we are not attacking them, because they are the worst part. Study statistically, the largest number of people get killed by this aggressive faith is their own people only. Because the mob is the mob, and the mob is basically innocent, but wrongly guided, they cause limitless violence. So therefore, a person should be judged not by his faith, by his justice and valor and his fairness. If he is coming to your place, whether it is this person, that person, doesn't matter. At least we should be dharmic in this context. And he fits the bill and is willing, but if he is going to use this platform to become a jihadi, then you should be very clear, oh, this person doesn't fit here. Nobody should come to such place for an agenda other than the agenda of working there. No? You don't
Thank you,
make an
Prabhuji.
IS, you can't make an IS officer on behalf of ISKCON. He has to be an IS officer on behalf of Bharata, and he could be a follower of ISKCON. You understand? Very simple. So therefore, because that role requires that kind of, responsibility. Very simple. So we are not against a person. We are discussing the concept of Shraddha. Very simple.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Vijeshi, can you please ask your question? Or
Hello? Can't hear you. Hello? Can't hear you.
Vishnuji, can you please ask your question?
ये मैं यही जानना चाहता हूँ कि जो करंट सर्कमस्टांसेस है बांग्लादेश में और आसपास हिंदुओं के साथ जो हो रहा है इसमें कौन का क्या टेक है हाउ डू दे व्यू द सिचुएशन एंड व्हाट इज द सॉल्यूशन
तो इसलिए हमने we discussed in the entire class. The first is whether you are ISKCON, whether you are what, doesn't matter. Let us not take this incident based upon only on ISKCON. It's an event, but I'm not discussing about event. I'm discussing event. I use this event to discuss the problem which is there for since ages. It's a philosophical, it's a political, it's a social, it's a neurology, it's a psychological problem, right? So therefore the point is, first, what is, again, simple, what you can do, what I can do, what is your power to influence. You can influence 4 people, 8 people. So therefore into ocean. So let us not become lethargic based upon, what can I do, or let us not become reactive based upon how this happened. Alright, this is not the event, it is the same principle which is happening since ages. But this is basically, because ISKCON is involved, because it's an international organization, therefore it has come forefront among them also. So it is good in one sense. They are also realizing, all of us, we are realizing, those who are living, some of them, oh, you know there are hundreds of people, ISKCON leaders, they understand, they're being an international society. It's not that they're isolated, they don't work with, in India, most of the leaders do work with other Hindu organization, doing an integration. Recently in Mayapur, there was a function where they had invited other Sampradaya people also. So therefore, that should not be a discussion whether ISKCON. We are को. Pandavas went to the forest with almost nanga, naked. उनके उपवस्त्र को भी छीन लिया गया था. But by the grace of Draupadi, they at least got their weapons and what they created. Shivaji Maharaj was ridiculed. Rana Pratap was ridiculed. Who else was not? Vijayanagar kingdom, they were shepherds. What they created, right? Whoever imagined? I grew up understanding about 370 when I was as young as 4-year-old. Ayodhya mein Ram Mandir. Never thought this would happen in our presence, but it happened, right? तो इसलिए miracle is created not because the system changes. Miracle is created because we are willing to take one extra step. I'm only focusing on ourselves. I'm not talking about politically kya karna chahiye. That is not to us to discuss in this domain, because we know there are people like Ajit Doval who has dedicated his life, so he knows much more than all of us in regards to international politics. He has gone to Pakistan for 7 years, stayed there, right? तो उनके जैसे इतने सारे लोग हैं, and they know to handle how to tackle. तो वो लोग अपना काम कर रहे हैं, हमें अपनी ओर से in our style we have to do our work, not reactive, but prepare, educate, grow and contribute. We'll take next two questions.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Krishna Sundar Prabhuji, can you please ask your question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam. Prabhuji, my question is, when we are fighting against somebody, suppose you are giving example of this a building losing some money. So when we are fighting in court of law, most of the judges or policemen try to make compromise. Okay, give him money and make a compromise. But we don't want to compromise. But with this, we'll never win the case, and our peace of mind is also gone. So how to tackle this
So
situation?
therefore simple, what is your power and what is, again come back, understand, not about simply ideology of fighting against injustice, but what resources you have to fight. This is Bhima was told by Yudhishthira Maharaj. He said, I'm going to kill them. He said, hey, look, even Bhishma, Drona is going to fight for them. Where is your resources to fight them? So you have to understand what is your resources. You can be smart, you can compromise in regards to if there is need to move on, but at least cause some damage to their nasty, char. If 4 people get to know about them, tell about 8 people, make a false Facebook page and talk what happened to you. So that at least learn, like other day somebody was discussing this. Many times people don't like to hear, "Oh, we don't want to hear this, this bad news we don't want to hear. We don't want to hear about anybody bad." It is not that they are so good they like to hear anything. They are so coward. No? They are so coward, and therefore in the name of I don't want to contaminate, the same people don't want to fight. When there is a problem with their brother and sister, they will hire a top lawyer and become what a valorous. And therefore one of my friends said, Prabhupada taught us to be a lion in the chase and lamb in the home. But we want to be lion amongst our own selves. बहन के साथ लायनगिरी, भाई के साथ लायनगिरी, बाप के साथ लायनगिरी. Oh, my father treated me ill and he gave this much of money. I'm going to fight him in the court of law. I can't stand injustice. हिजड़े लोग है पूरा. इंडिया में सबसे ज्यादा कोर्ट केस बाप के प्रति, भाई के प्रति, बहन के प्रति डालते हैं. Right. So therefore, at least be honest in this regard. Recently, two sisters, they were being cheated in regards to their land only. They fought like a lion, and without giving one penny to anybody, they won the case. Right? So therefore, you have to understand what is your capacity. Understand the capacity. Don't bring the philosophy here. No, because we see that, like the left liberal, they talk about borderless state, but the hypocrites live in gated communities. Right. So therefore, there is no need to justify. You don't have to be honest to others also. You be honest to yourself first. इतना करो, next step will happen. Therefore here I am not talking about हम लोग protest करेंगे, हम बांग्लादेश के embassy में जाएंगे, UN में लिखेंगे. That is none of my business, because I am not into that position. मेरा power नहीं. I am only talking about as an individual what we can do. having full trust in some of the people who are operating on that level.
Thank you. Sharmila ji, can you please ask your question? Radhika ji, can you please ask your question? Okay, Isha ji, can you ask your question, please? Yeah.
Prabhuji, my question is that sometimes we know that something wrong is happening, but we are not sure if we should raise our voice. Like in a professional world, we can, but when it comes to personal matters, there is a concern that what will people think around us. So, what do we do in such situations?
Naturally, when you want to fight for justice, some people think wrongly about you. Oh, she is becoming aggressive. Oh, she is becoming breaking the culture of the family. All that. So if you want to fight, you should be willing to take some bad words from others also, right? Otherwise you become peaceful like Lord Buddha, and see whether peace comes to you. I don't think other than Lord Buddha anybody has experienced peace by not doing anything. No? अंदर से सफोकेट होके मर जाते लोग. I am peaceful. What peaceful? You are being hypocrite. You are showing that you are peaceful. You are burning inside. But because you don't have the courage, so therefore again, Shastras are so good. They say, what is your strength? If you cannot use a bullet, गोटी से कम खेलो ना. पहले मारना तो सीखो. ट्रायंगल बनाओ, गोटी से खेलो. No. So therefore, it's all about dealing with reality and not playing with words in regards to reality and justifying our stupidity. No. जो अंदर से आता है ना वही सत्य है. बाकी सत्य जो है वो शब्दों के साथ खेल है बस. And how do I deal with my satya with the external world? That is smartness. How to work on that? Therefore, simple. No reactive behavior and no sleeping behavior and no justifying. Factual, statistical reality like Yudhishthir saying, look, we can't fight them because Bhima was all, अब भी जाके उनको खत्म करता हूँ. अरे भीम को बोल रहे हैं, who am I, who are you? Right. Bhim ko Yudhishthira is saying, look, you can't fight them now because they are more powerful, because Bhishma, Drona, will everybody fight them. Jungle में रहो, resources collect करो, सही time आएगा, then you can fight them out. Right? So therefore it is based upon, what, and again, the Kapi Sena, why can't we go back? What was Ram's power and resources? Let us not see, he's Supreme Lord, he can do anything. No, that Supreme Lord took the army of the Kapi. Not everybody was Hanuman, they had ordinary stick and stones. But what a valor and what a power they show. Therefore, there is a statement, Sangha Shakti Kali Yuge. There is a power in the transformation. So this is a time for us to, for those who never thought from this, those who thought, those who know, they are only becoming reconfirming their understanding. It is not a person, it is an ideology we are fighting. And Sanatan Dharma has the courage. One person deal on a dharma basis. A group of people come representing their Shraddha, then don't say, but he was nice person. No, that time is coming as a presenter of Shraddha. Many times people say that, but I found that very good Muslim. That does not matter. He is good person, but we are discussing about the radical faith saturated with tamoguna has the power to destroy the stability of everybody. Therefore, we have to judge the faith based upon neurology, psychology, human species, whether it is a human species, it creates a human species or not. Right? So therefore it is important to understand what you can do. It's all about what you can do. Not what about what the British government should do, what UN should do. let us understand very clearly, you have the potential, to do something beyond what you are doing now. And when we do that, what does it do? It creates a revolution, a positive revolution, a constructive revolution, a stable revolution, where, as we all believe, that let everybody live happily. The Sanatan Dharma, before the invaders came here, go back and study how they were so peaceful, happy, playing upon the flute. There was a Bharatnatyam, there was a art, there was a music. There would be war, but that war would be not connected to civil people. The soldiers would fight, whether Chola is fighting Pandya, Pandya is fighting, Vijayanagar. They never involved in destroying, disturbing anybody's faith or anybody's, simple living. But when these invaders came, destroying the farmland, because they never experienced farmland in their land, they did not, they destroyed the temple because they never experienced the colorfulness. जिसको कला के बारे में कोई जानकारी नहीं था, वो करेगा क्या? वो सैवेज ही बनेगा ना, right? So therefore that all music, drama, dance, everything becomes meaningful if you have a civilization which exists. So all these things meaningful if the civilization exists, and the civilization can only exist on the principle of dharma, because dharma is universal reality. Whether you are Mexican, whether you are American, you are British, doesn't matter. It is not based upon Rashtra, it is based upon dharma. And that dharma explains systematically ये राष्ट्र की आवश्यकता क्यों है, ये सिविलाइजेशन की आवश्यकता क्यों है, श्रद्धा कैसी होनी चाहिए. Bhagavatam 3rd canto explains Shraddha without dharma creates limitless inauspiciousness. And unfortunately, the Abrahamic religion do not have the concept of dharma. It is only Shraddha, and only Shraddha. And when there is only Shraddha without dharma, go back into the history and see what it does. Whether it is Mother Teresa is as extremist as the Bangladeshi Muslim there. She deserves no praise from any practitioners of Sanatan Dharma. Her compassion was connected to converting people, and when the compassion and conversion happens, it is not compassion, it's obnoxiousness only. There are people in South that Swami lived for 95 years old, did much greater work than anybody could ever imagine, but he never converted people to dharma or his community, whatever it is. Any poor person he came, he gave them spirituality, but not catching to convert. This we have to understand. We should have the courage to speak systematically and logically. She never went to Lord Chaitanya's place, so why should I appreciate her? She never went to Ramakrishna mission. And she very seriously, my whole aspect of compassion is to spread the gospel of Jesus. And I stand by it, and nobody in the world can change my opinion about this. No? I am speaking from a very Sanatan dharma perspective. Anybody who doesn't have dharma, the Bhagavatam is saying, Mahabharata is saying, Ramayana is saying, your Shraddha has to be founded under dharma, and if it is not founded on dharma, it becomes tamogan, it becomes aggressive, it becomes violent, it becomes Dushasan in making millions of Dushasans. I think we'll stop here, that it is time, because we have to do some yajna.
One final
Hare,
question can I ask?
Hare Krishna Govind Prabhu.
It's
We
a
have we have a very well-known personality, Satish Sharma ji, who joined. Maybe we can take his comment or question.
oh Satish ji, namaskar.
प्रणाम गोविंद दास जी, जय
Namaskar.
श्री कृष्ण, नमस्कार जी, जय
Yes.
श्री राम.
Yes.
And thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. And my sincere condolences, heartfelt condolences to your family and to the Sampradaya. It's been a devastating week for all of us. And I just wanted to reach out and share with you that we are doing as much as we can to offer support and also to try and find protection for the community there. I don't know if anybody had noticed, but yesterday I spoke on CNN News 18 about this issue. And what you were saying about needing to defend our Dharma and our people and our Sanskriti and our history is so, so important and so true. We are now, each of us, Arjuna, on the battlefield. This is a battlefield. It may take us a bit of time to recognize it. And in a battlefield, we need to either become warriors or we need to support warriors. There is no other choice. If we can find warriors, then let's give them all the support we possibly can. If we know that we are not ourselves warriors, because there is a price, as Govinda Das ji said so clearly, there is a price to be paid the moment you step onto that front line. Now, we have started a conversation here in the United Kingdom. Yesterday, on that broadcast and subsequently, I have put into our community two thoughts. One thought is that in the United Kingdom, we are going to appeal and lobby the British government to introduce sanctions against Bangladesh. Now, it may happen, it may not happen, but at least it's introducing a new thought. And the second idea that I put into the public space was that we want to push for self-determination of Bangladeshi Hindus. If the Muslims in Kashmir can demand self-determination for that tiny little valley, then why on earth can we not have the conversation started about partitioning Bangladesh to give an area where Hindus can feel safe? Now, it may be that these will not transpire, this may not come to fruition, but they are aggressive statements, they are assertive statements, and they're
Yes,
statements which attack the
yes.
opposition psychologically. And they're very clear, simple statements. So all I wanted to do was to share with you that we're very much supportive and connected to what's happened, and we will do our best and hope that we can all find ways to work together, because this is not over. This is merely the latest in a long, long journey of adharmic, asuric attacks upon our community. And I'm very confident this is going to increase. So let's step up to the plate. Let's get involved with the battlefield, and we can win this. We are on the right side of Dharma. We always have been. All that's needed is for us to become less confused, a bit more courageous, a bit more risk taking, and the process will start and support us. Then we will truly understand what Dharma Rakshiti Rakshita actually means. Ji, thank you very much. I'm conscious
Thank
that
you,
you have
Satish
other
ji. Thank you
engagements, so
for
I won't
being
say
here.
any
It's
more.
honor, and then you presented, and we know Satish since many years fighting the battle in UK. On behalf of the, the Dharma community. Relentlessly, and thank you for extending yourself for the present situation. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Prabhuji. Jai Shri
Thank you.
Krishna. Jai Shri
Jai
Krishna.
Shri Krishna. Jai Ram.
Thank you, Satishji. Thank you, Govind Prabhuji, for this very enlightening talk, giving us a clear idea about what is action orientation. Jiski lathi uski bhais. It's time that we start preparing this lathi based on our capacity. Because in case we want to walk peacefully with the buffaloes of our life, we need to have a lathi in our hand, and that is being truly resourceful and powerful in our life. One of the ways to be resourceful and powerful is money. So let's hear about money and Mahabharat when we join Govind Prabhu next Tuesday on Clubhouse. Till then, thank you very much and Hare Krishna.